Sally7 and BPQ32. This video is about downloading or retrieving messages from your local BBS with Sally7 PMS or personal messaging system. When you install Sally7, wherever you choose it to install, it will only install the executables there, and then the personal folder is here in app data roaming NTSX Sally. Well, this is my username here, but it's misspelled. This is because I've never changed it. This is how it came with this computer. I bought it second hand, and I just left it like that basically. So anyway, so NTSX folder, and then Sally, and then you've got all the folders here. Also, you'll find a couple of registry keys in current user and users. One of them is probably a copy of the other one. Okay, so Sally retrieves messages in this is the support group here. Retrieve messages in ASCII basic and binary compressed forward version 0, binary 0. I'm not sure whether the binary 1 works. I think there is a note there in the help file stating it might not work properly, so we'll just leave that. So with Sally you can retrieve list messages with L, with a simple L command. It retrieves the headers only. Then you can choose, you mark them, and then you can choose to download them from your local BBS basically. Also you can do forwarding with your local BBS, which is a totally separate process. We'll go through that as well. So let's go through the configuration. This is the PMS call sign, name, SID banner. You've got here a little help about that. There's a B1, okay, B1 there, but I'm not sure. Local BBS call sign is this one. Local BBS prompt here. Right, you got a bit of a help there. PMS BBS HA is here. Press F1. Tells you a little bit here. Yep. Okay. Now host mode selection. Here you can choose telnet only, which is you don't select anything basically. Or if you select to attach Sally to a BPQ system, you select this one. Or an HEGW packet engine, and then path to that, sound modem direwolf, QT7 TF-Win 30, don't know, that's with WinFBB I believe, and this is probably a TNC like PACCOM and stuff like that. Okay, message retrieval is important here. So messages are retrieved with simple connection to the BBS and with command L from list basically. You can also do Unproto broadcast capture, but I haven't explored that yet. I haven't even got it enabled on my BBS. So the BPQ32 BBS. Okay, so once you retrieve message, you retrieve the headers, they will go in here basically in this BBS Headers List. The BBS Headers List must match the header configuration has to match the one coming of the messages of the headers coming from the BBS itself in this order: number, date, in this case TSD, size 2. So let's do a list here. Not sure we're going to be able to list anything. No, because it's in the hold on. Okay. You see the headers. You've got the number, let's bring that back again with the console. Date, that's the size probably from to, so at to, and that's the subject from, sorry, to at from subject. If you don't put these in order here, let's say you put the number here and you try to do a listing, well, we haven't got anything to list now. It will give you an error here saying there will be a little red square here or a question mark on the top right. Then if you look in the logs here, it will give you some errors like BBS headers in red and stuff like that. So they must be in order here. Okay. Here you can display the last, I think it's minimum 30 if you want stuff like that. Not sure what other options you've got there. Anyway, let's close this one. Actually, let's leave it open. Let's close this console window. Okay, so now if you choose Unproto here, as you can see, the headers have changed here, so it's not the same in Unproto. I haven't explored that, but anyway, it's there if you choose to do so. Further down, use binary compressed mode when retrieving messages. Yes, we can, not when listing, when retrieving. Okay. So if I'm retrieving now, let's say this run. Sorry, I haven't marked anything here. Let's say we want to, if you want to retrieve certain messages, these are only the headers here, it's only the listing. You go here and you select the message and then you click there, or you've got some options here as far as I remember. Okay, so you just press the hashtag here. Yeah. So now if we go run BBS message retrieval, it will retrieve these messages in compress mode B0, as you can see. The SIDs are there. Yeah, so now they are downloaded. So you can read them here if you want. Remember, I think you just go here, but there is another window where you can read messages, which is this one here, messages or message list, and you can all find them here. We'll come back to these windows a bit later. Now, okay, message tagging. Here you can choose to list messages and also download all of them at the same time if you choose this, for example. So when you go here, you don't need to tag these messages in order to download them. They will get downloaded automatically. Okay. Or you can choose to download automatically only certain ones with a to field or a from field or whatever. Okay. Delete those. So options, you've got a few options here for Sally. Starts automatically with Windows. Update, stuff like that. File servers enabled. Connections accepted on port. This one you can change it like this, and then remote control, that's for sysops, right? If you don't normally connect via the usual user port, you connect via a specific port, whichever you want to use. Okay, right, so archiving and news, audio. These are not very important if you want to choose whatever you want to choose there, stuff like that. Custom commands, filter. Forwarding. Forwarding, as I said, is separate from listing. If you choose to forward or reverse, or forward and reverse forward, like here, for example, which is this one here, always initiate a reverse forward to collect any waiting messages. So if you choose to do that, you might not need the listing here. You might not need, the message retrieval at all. Because with forwarding, you can obviously retrieve messages from the BBS, so you don't need to, when you reverse forward, so you don't need to actually use the listing and retrieval function of Sally. So I would suggest you either use this simple listing and retrieval and forward only without reverse forwarding, or give up on this one and use forwarding and reverse forwarding here. Obviously with the reverse forwarding and stuff like that, you don't have a you can't choose what you get from the BBS, like with the retrieval here. With retrieval, you can see the headers, you can choose whatever you want to download and then retrieve them. With this one, you will get only what's set in your BBS, whatever options are there for you to retrieve, which I'm gonna go through in a minute. Okay, what else is there? So here you can, instead of for example, you can do only for the personal messages and you as well. So you can do this one. So in this case, you're not going to reverse forward. You're not going to get any messages from the BBS. You're only going to send personal messages and bulletin messages. Okay, so let's put this back to R. So again, listing and retrieval, it's totally different from forwarding and reverse forwarding, optional, and you might not need both of them. Housekeeping, that's okay, you can probably go through that later. Schedule events, here you can set times when you want to list and retrieve messages, and they can be done automatically, or forwarding as well. It can be done automatically every whatever minutes past the hour here, and then you have to select them here. Okay, timers, well, Unproto, these only work as far as I know with the host ports here. So they're not gonna, we can actually delete that probably. They're not gonna work in telnet as far as I've only used Sally7 for 2 or 3 months, so yeah, not probably the best person to go through these, but there's nobody else wants to do it, then fine. So forwarding, local BBS, this is the BBS callsign here, MØIPU. There's a bit of a help on these. 1 second, let me see. There's a script message. Token list there. These are tokens basically. So as you can see, they're all listed here. So local BBS is there. A special token used to reference your local BBS callsign. Okay. Right, so we've gone through the configuration here. Now, as I said, we have the BBS Headers List. This doesn't work in forwarding, this one, so you're not going to see any, if you do only forwarding and reverse forwarding, you're not going to see any headers here. These only work in message listing and retrieval. Okay, so if you do only forwarding and reverse forwarding, you're only going to see the messages here, basically in the message list. Okay, so there are not too many options here. You can obviously go through them. It's pretty easy. I'm going to close this. So here you've got these options to set on messages, basically kill, status, unread, whatever. Create a message. Yeah, you can sort of write a message or reply or whatever. Let's create a message. So when creating a message, you need to enable forwarding. You're not going to be able to send it through to the BBS unless you do it manually, probably connect and send it like that or whatever. Here, so in order, so as you can see, I'm going through these messages. Tech. You can see these schematics here. In order to see them properly, you need a font here, like Sally437 monospace DOS, size 10, I believe. Yeah. You can select another font size here. So in order to see these properly, you need that kind of font. You see the headers here of the message. You enable that or disable that with H. So if you press H, or you can press here in this corner, or if you see, so when I'm opening the message list window, there's another message list menu coming up here on the top. So you can it tells you here, display headers or whatever. Okay. So that's pretty much it here. Okay, let's close that. So forwarding now. Forwarding, reverse forwarding. Obviously, as I've set this up, we also need connect scripts, either for listing and retrieval here, or forwarding. You need connect scripts to the BBS, basically, or at least one for that particular BBS for telnet connection. So we'll find that in the script editor here, or script editor. This is a telnet one. Timeout set to 20. This is a comment. Okay, with a okay. So that's the MØIPU.com. Timeout 20. Disconnect the boot on this timeout boot. Telnet mode. So here we connect to the transparent mode port, or FBB port in BPQ32. It's not the usual normal telnet port, so this would be the transparent mode one. Connect to host. Here we've got a bit of a help as well. There is a help with scripts, I believe. Yeah. So gives you all the commands and all that to use in a script. Okay. Connect to host, send question mark. Yeah, this is because I'm not sure whether I need that, but this is to bring up the user. Sometimes it doesn't show up when you connect in transparent mode. I'm sending the call sign, send another question mark to bring up this password. Again, I'm not sure whether we actually need that, but I think we do, because give you an example here. If we use Qt term TCP to connect to the BPQ BBS, or BPQ node actually, sorry, yeah. So it takes a bit of a time to. Now the user came up here, it's fine. So Okay, and now the password doesn't come up here, or sometimes the Sally7 sends password too quickly, and there's not enough time for BPQ to process it. I'm not sure, there's a delay there. To be honest, I haven't gone through that. So if you type a question mark here, it will bring the password. Yeah, you can play with that. I think it timed out. Oh no. Blah blah. Yeah, so now connected to the node. Yeah, so that's the reason for this and question mark. Okay, wait for password, send the password, and send BBS, which is the one in the menu there, BBS. These are wait for BBS prompt. This is commented out, we don't need that, and we don't need any of these here. So this is my script for connecting to the BPQ32 BBS. Okay, so BPQ32 is installed on a different computer. This is a different computer on the LAN, and I use Sally on my working computer, which is not always on. Sometimes, you know, whenever I need it, I turn it on. So, and it connects to the BPQ computer and retrieves all the messages there whenever it's necessary. Obviously, you can read your messages through the HTTP interface as well, but this is not about that. It's okay. Yeah, so they're all there. You can also use your email client. Sorry, yeah, to do that. There is an info page on the BPQ documentation website. Okay, let's go back to Sally. So that user script, right? So when we run a listing here, so 3 messages came through. We use that script basically. We've just seen this one here. So it's used this script here to connect to the BBS. We go to the message listing. So it was the other way around. It was, yeah, so now if we want to download the last few messages, 4 messages, let's say, we do that, and then we retrieve them. Okay. Again, I'm saying this has nothing to do with forwarding. If you do forwarding and reverse forwarding, actually reverse forwarding, you're not going to see the messages here in the BBS Headers List. You're only going to see them here. Sometimes you can list and retrieve them with this option here, and then if you do forwarding, you can download them twice. So you have to choose either one. Okay. Now, for forwarding and reverse forwarding, we have to obviously set the BPQ32 BBS. We have a few options there to set. Let's do that. Okay, so let's remote into the computer where BPQ NetRum node is installed and the BBS and all that. So this is my own BBS, right? So it has the same same call sign basically. This is a DX Spider node by Dirk G1 DJK, I believe. It's a great software. Right, so let's have a look at the config file in BPQ. So the port we are connecting to from Sally7 is the FBB port, as I said. It's not the TCP port here, so it's this one, whatever it is in your system. What else is there? Now, if you ever want to attach Sally, even though I haven't explored this option, to the BPQ node, with this option here, you probably have to add an app here with a C2 on, if you want to do it via the telnet port 2, C2, whatever. As I said, I haven't done that, so I've got to explore that. Okay, so let's minimize that. Now, mail, okay. Here, the main configuration, you have to choose this forward messages to BBS call, basically. Okay. Let's close that. And let's go into messages, no, forwarding, or users actually first. So here, as far as I remember, you have to check PMS and BBS possibly. Just check both of them in any way. Can't remember. I've gone through this a few months ago, like 3-4 months ago. I've already forgotten pretty much everything what I've done. Okay, let's close that. Forwarding now. Here, the connection script is an attempt to forward from the BBS to the PMS, basically to Sally7, which I haven't managed to do that properly yet, but I'm gonna have to check an option there. I'm gonna probably post a message on Sally7 group here with regards to that. There's a password requirement there which I didn't manage to get past there. Here is important, obviously. If you want to do that, you have to check enable forwarding, possibly reverse forward as well, but you have to leave all the forwarding alone in Sally7. Obviously you don't want to do forwarding from reverse forward from both sides. So okay, so allow binary here, it's checked. Here you have to write down whatever type of flood bulls and personal and directed bulls you want. If you don't write anything here, when you do reverse forwarding from Sally, you're not gonna get anything. Basically, so you have to add whatever you want, like with any BBS, whatever you want to send to that BBS. The BBS HA is this one. So that's pretty much it. The settings in with the settings in BPQ32. So let's close that. I believe that's it. Gonna minimize that. Okay, so forwarding now. We all set in BPQ. So you either press F8 or local BBS here to start forwarding. Okay, so let's bring that up once again. So you can see Sally, it's proposing to the BBS the messages we downloaded via the message listing and retrieval, which is not normal, but I believe it happens because the PMS and the BBS have the same call sign. I'm not sure if there's a way around this. I mean, these messages shouldn't be proposed to the BBS, right? Because we've just downloaded it from there. Okay. And the BBS is proposing these two, but we've got them already. because we downloaded them with listing and retrieval. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, the denial here. Okay. Yeah, this is a problem when you use list. As I said before, if you use listing and retrieval combined with forwarding, you have to pretty much use listing and retrieval for retrieving messages and use forwarding for sending messages and bulletins, for sending only to the BBS, or use forwarding and reverse forwarding and forget about listing and retrieval completely. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm not sure what else. File transfer mode here, you call this hidden menus here. Yeah. So if you are in a certain window in Sally, again, you've got another menu popping up here, especially for this. Yeah, it's pretty much whatever is here with little icons. Probably not sure there's any extra and stuff like that. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. Yeah, so this PMS is similar to a personal BBS, let's say, found in Cantronics TNC or any other TNC, for example. If you want to forward to another PMS, right, with a different call sign, whatever, you have to have a password here. With an extension MD2, Sally is going to use this and create a hash, I believe. Right, and obviously you're going to need that specific call sign of that specific PMS. Let's say I want to forward with M6 LXF. I have to create a password, an MD2 password here, and he has to create a similar file with M0IPU MD2. Forget about this one. Actually, let me delete that because I was experimenting. I don't need that. Edit that and put whatever. I think the developer recommends like 255, so the hash would be a bit more difficult to guess or to retrieve. Whatever. I'm not sure how you can actually retrieve a password from some hash or bits and bobs of a hash or whatever. Yeah, so whatever, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let me check. You'll also need a connection script for that, of course. You're gonna have to add that in the forwarding here. Add another entry, whatever call sign of that BBS and whatever you want to do with it. I'm not gonna go through that now. There's no more time. I've got another Sally7 installation on a virtual machine, and I've experimented with that, but I'm not gonna go through that now. So here, so that's my chair creaking there. It's broken. Now Sally can auto-decode 7+ files like this sort of stuff here. You can see a message here from Sally at the end, or after it's received all these messages, indicating that JPEG file or whatever file it is, and it gives you the links here. You can see all these pictures coming through. There's a nice little dog here, cute. Okay, some other pictures. I don't know, it's a traffic analysis, my I0 OJJ. and other stuff like that. I believe that's pretty much it. I'm not sure what else. That should get you going. You've got options here. Next unread message, next to sysop, next in group, whatever at the bottom here. Zoom in, whatever stuff like that. What else is there? Heard list. That's if you want to monitor that channel. Address book, database. Okay, you can work on that as well. Message creator, host statistics. I don't know. Okay, fair enough. Active Windows. Okay. Yeah. So this is important here. If you don't have the, as I said, headers here in order, in the order they come through the BBS, you're gonna see errors here in red with regards to the headers and stuff like that. Okay. Right, so one last thing to connect to Sally with a simple terminal program, like IP telnet with the outpost in this case. Right, so the settings are, we're on the local host here, and the port is this one, which is the one found in options here. Telnet connections, not the remote port. Okay. Yeah, so let's connect. Now, if I connect with the PMS call sign, it's going to ask me for a password, which I haven't sort of figured out which password that is. I'm going to post a message to the Sally group here and find out about that. You see, password, I've tried pretty much every password I've set in Sally7 and it doesn't work, so yeah, well, just gonna have to disconnect basically. Yeah. Okay, but if we connect as a user, like I don't know, Y03FCA for example, it's fine. It's not gonna ask you for any password unless you've set it here. Like you must have a password. Password control here is if set up. Okay. So okay. So here you can type list, stuff like that. You can obviously leave messages for whatever user are there, things like that. Yes, one thing I've forgotten about from the very beginning when you set up Sally to connect to your BBS, so it's nothing to do with this. You have to set up set paging off on the BBS. There is a specific command there, I can't remember now. Yeah, so you have to set the paging off. So not in this case here, but when you try to retrieve messages and list and retrieve from your local BBS, you have to set paging off there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Abort, help, okay, things like that. Let's try buy. Thanks for calling. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, and 73.